But another thing that I really think would work and it would prevent people from thinking they need to push the envelope so much. And that's the Coach Greg, and I've been doing a lot of thinking, what can we do to save bodybuilding? There's too many health problems. People are abusing PDs too much. And like, what can we actually do to solve this problem? And obviously the first thought that everyone's going to say is, well, let's just drug test the sport. And I thought the same thing. And yeah, that'll help to an extent. But what will happen is people are just going to end up taking things in the off season and then they'll clean up right before the show. Everyone will just switch to taking things like test suspension, where it's going to clear out so quick. You could literally go on it for 50 weeks of the year and stop for 2 weeks and pass. And yes, it would help, but not enough. And people don't really want that. People still are going to want to take things to win. Okay. So rather than that, I have a better idea. Better idea than drug test. Obviously, I would love to see both drug testing and open, like where you can take anything, have both at the Olympia, you know, whether it's in a different show, a different day. Friday's one thing, Saturday's the next. They do that in many of the amateur shows as is. I think that would be great. But another thing that I really think would work and would prevent people from thinking they need to push the envelope so much, and that's to create another classic physique category. We already have enough bodybuilding. We have the 212 bodybuilding and we have open bodybuilding, which is essentially short freaks and tall freaks. They're just freaks. There's so much muscle. And so they're all pushing the envelope. You know, they have to, literally, to get to that size, they have to push the envelope. Classic physique, a lot of people are still pushing the envelope, but they don't have to as great of an extent. So what I would say needs to be done is you add in another category where the weight limit is 10% smaller. That's all it takes. Just consider right now, we compete in amateur. My category for 5'6", amateur is 175 pounds. That's the limit. And as pro, it's 185. It goes up 10 pounds, okay? Might not sound like much, but that's a lot more. If you're an amateur and you're working hard and you finally earn that pro card, you're 175 pounds ripped and you're feeling amazing, you turn pro, now you have 10 more pounds that you got to gain, literally. And if you don't, you're at a huge disadvantage compared to everyone else. So what I'm saying is you need to make a category that's even lighter, 10% smaller. So just imagine if your weight class as a pro right now is 200, there's another pro class and it's 180. If it's 250, there's another pro class that's 225. Think of how much difference that makes. You're 200 pounds and you need to go up to 220. It's a huge difference, 10% smaller. That way you go to the Olympia and you have, for example, Chris Bumstead's the current Mr. Olympia. He could literally go natural and compete in the lower division or take less. Then you have a Mr. Olympia that's in a different category. They can still take PEDs, but less is healthier. And I think that will give people another avenue so they don't have to all push the size envelope. Let's take some people that we're aware of. Let's take Brandon Harding. He competes, he's over 6'1", he's 190 some pounds. Anyone not think Brandon is a giant, ton of muscle? This guy is tiny compared to the weight he's allowed to weigh. He's allowed to weigh 240 pounds as a pro in the Olympia. He's under 200. That means realistically, he kind of needs to put on about 40 pounds of muscle from where he is right now to be at that level. With this in place, 10% less than 240, 24 pounds. Instead of 40 pounds of muscle, we're talking about 15 pounds of muscle. Which is you think is healthier? Don't we think that the guys have gotten big enough? You could still be smaller and still look amazing. The Miracle Bear that placed 4th in the Olympia this year, that I competed with him, he was 20 pounds under the weight limit when I competed against him. He's already big enough technically, but he's going to have to keep getting bigger. Logan Franklin's not big enough. He has to get bigger. The weight classes are so high for these people that you need to do a lot and basically take everything and anything to try to get there. Even though it's classic, it doesn't mean the guys are just on nothing or that they're natural. So I really think if you have this extra category, it'll help. It'll save it. Look at Anthony Mantello. Does anyone not think that this kid looks amazing, that he should be pro right now? He should be pro right now. Why isn't he? Because he's not a monster, because he doesn't have enough muscle. Even in men's physique, not big enough. Men's physique guys, some of them are bigger than classic physique. There are literally people that compete in men's physique because they can't make the weight limit for classic physique. I've competed with them. They're in there and they can't make the weight limit. And they're like, well, I had to go in classic, and they stand in their board shorts. That's how ridiculous it's got. I need to add another category for that as well. I mean, the board shorts category, it's bodybuilders who are wearing shorts. Why aren't we judging their legs in the first place? They should have another category. Let's call it muscle model. And the guys have to come in and show a little bit of their legs. But the category has less muscle. Maybe they have a height and weight limit there as well. Muscle model. Realistic weight limits that actual people that want to look good, they want to, they want to train and aspire to something, but the weight limits are not so high that people push the drug envelope. And so what people I don't think understand is everyone kind of wants to look better than they currently are. Like we all have aspirations to be better. But when there's a weight class, you can only get so good in that weight class. You can only make it so far. And if you want to go to a different weight class, hey, that's on you. But the choice is yours. But if you're an athlete and you have the mindset of a champion, you're basically wanting to be the best at something. You want to win. And so if you're winning and you're natural, well, there's not really much incentive to have to take steroids. But if you're not winning and you're natural, you start thinking, well, maybe I can take something and I can compete with that. So you might look absolutely amazing and perfect. Everyone thinks you look great. You do a competition and you realize that, wow, I'm 20 pounds under the weight limit of what I need to be to compete against those guys. So you take things that you didn't want to take in the first place, all because you're a competitive athlete. You want to take that because you want to win. It's easy to just say, just don't take it. But that's not how it is in the real world. It's easy to just say, hey, don't do drugs. People do drugs. Don't drink and drive. Don't do anything. Don't whatever, text and drive. But people are doing it. That's why we have laws to stop people from doing things that they shouldn't do in the first place. So if you have rules in bodybuilding and weight classes, that can help stop people, save themselves. We need to do something to prevent people from taking risks on their own. As it stands right now, people are doing bodybuilding and it's not a healthy sport. And I'm a bodybuilder. I've done it 59 times and I know things I've done and it's not healthy. Why? Because I want to win. I want to be the best I can. I want to push the envelope. It's not healthy, but you do it anyway because you want to win. But if they have categories in place where people can be natural, hey, this is a drug tested division. There you go. You have that chance. Now, obviously, there's going to be people that are not, but at least it's there as an option. But by allowing different categories within the same thing, so you have 2 different categories of classic physique with different weight limits, you can literally go in the one that you want. You can say, you can be an Anthony Mantello or Brandon Harding and say, I don't want to be in that category where I have to take every single drug in the world to try to get that big, to compete at that level. Because people just want to be successful. If you knew you could go to the Olympia and be in the Mr. Freaking Olympia and be natural and had a natural category, and you're natural, you're going to do that. And if you knew that you could not take every single drug and push it to the envelope and still get to the Mr. Olympia and still be on that stage and have the weight limit for classic 20 pounds lighter, and you're like, I'm doing that. Why wouldn't I? Okay. And it's also ridiculous. This is. I don't know if everyone knows this, but in bodybuilding, okay, in classic, when you turn pro, the weight limit goes up 10 pounds. So whatever you were as an amateur, you're at the best you can be. Now, as soon as you turn pro, all of a sudden you have to put on 10 pounds. You don't have to, but if you don't, you're at a disadvantage. Why is it 10? What I would say is up that limit 5 pounds right now for the amateurs. So for me, as an amateur, I'd have to weigh 175, make it 180 right now. Why not? And then when you turn pro, you're allowed 5 pounds. That way you don't have to gain all this weight in the first year. People are just pushing like, oh my God, I want to make, they're going to gain that weight. And then in the amateurs, drop that weight by that 10%. So it's going to be about 20 pounds on average for most people. And then when you turn pro, you're only allowed 5. That way people don't have to turn pro and gain 10 pounds of muscle. Let me know what you think. Would that not solve problems? 20 pounds lighter. All these people that are taking drugs, that are taking it in abusive levels, they wouldn't have to. 20 pounds of muscle is the difference between abusing the shit out of everything and being on HRT. Like literally, I'm on HRT right now. That's it. I'm not even 20 pounds smaller than when I was on everything and anything. So to go down and just drop the weight class by 20 pounds or what have you, 10%, make the difference between abusing drugs like to the fullest and not. You can say all you like, well, HRT is not healthy. You can debate all that a little bit. No one should do anything, but less is better. Drinking 2 beers is not as bad as drinking 10. It's going to be healthier. You're not going to be hungover. It's all about moderation. And I think that if they can do this, it could help, save the sport, grow the sport even. More people are going to compete. There's more categories. You might say, well, there's not enough time. Of course there's time. The Olympia is over a weekend. You can have different shows at different events. Make the routines 30 seconds instead of 3 minutes. There's ways to do this. I mean, it's just for the good of the sport. So hopefully you agree with me. Let me know in the comment section. Would you like to see 2 different weight classes for a men's classic physique? Would you like to see a new category for the board shorts where they actually show some of their legs, where maybe there's a height and weight difference? So average looking people, not that they're average looking, but average size people that people can actually look at. Because you can't convince me right now that you look at a men's physique guy in board shorts and look at that and think, yeah, I could probably train and look like that. What percentage of people can look like a men's physique person on the stage of the Olympia and be natural? Probably 0.0001%. It's too much. Something needs to be done. It's gotten out of hand. When they first added this category, way back, the first year, no one of that size would have thought that's men's physique. No one. Nobody thought that was men's physique. But every year, the guys got bigger and bigger and bigger, and they keep rewarding it. And what are you going to do? And now men's physique is a bodybuilding competition with guys wearing shorts. Let me know in the comment section. I want to see it. I think it would fix the sport. I think it would solve it. Maybe they'll see the video. Maybe they'll do something about it. Anyway, hopefully things will get better. Less drugs. We can fix the sport with your help. Until next time, I'm out.